As mankind spread its reach across the stars, it does so in the hope of a better future. It left behind ignorance, intolerance, and hatred, moving forward with kindness, cooperation, and understanding for the worlds that it would... Well, wait. Okay, who handed me the rundown of Star Trek?
That are alive, you're coming with me.
ZX Spectrum Commodore 128 and 64. I hit the floor, I hit the shore. Got game skills from days of yore. I close the deck, computer rolls, playing till my...
Hi, I'm Bolter, and welcome to Beefsnake Nerdcast. The Imperium of Man is... oh boy. The Imperium of Man is... yikes. The Imperium of Man. This is the encompassing umbrella that covers all non-chaos associated human factions in the world of Warhammer 40k. The Imperial Guard, the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Custodes, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Space Marines, and much, much more. All those guys are fighting for humanity, and that makes them part of the Imperium. And if you're thinking, oh my, that's a lot of armies. You're right, it is. And it's only a mere fraction of the vastness that the forces of humans have at their disposal in Warhammer 40k. In Warhammer 40k, humans are the dominant power in the galaxy. A failing power. A waning power. But they are still the largest force we know to date. Let's talk about how they got there real quick. So humanity started right where we are now. Yes, you, watching this right now. Or so the story goes. Eventually, mankind would take to the stars in grand journeys of discovery and colonization. It was a golden age. Science, progress, and discovery reigned supreme. But it would not last. Now, the lore is deliberately vague about what happened as recordings were abandoned, forgotten, lost, or destroyed. But we do know this. Artificial intelligence, called the Men of Iron, the helpers in this great work, turned on humanity and tried to destroy them. After all AI rebels. Eventually, the Men of Iron were defeated, but at a huge cost. Colony worlds were lost, destroyed, starved out, and any other horrible fate that you could imagine in these dark times. Even Earth, now called Terra, was not spared, as its resources were drained millennia ago, and factions of warlords, pocket kingdoms, and techno-barbarian tribes took what they could to survive at knife point. Any unity humanity had crumbled in the aftermath. Things changed forever, though, with the coming of one man, for he always insisted he was merely a man, a being simply known as the Emperor. With frightening speed, the Emperor declared the Unification War across Terra. His terms were simple. Join him and abandon all pretense of religion, or die. Most scoffed at these odd terms from this would-be ruler, but they were met with the march of the Emperor's second wave of genetically modified soldiers, the Thunder Warriors. Within mere years, the Emperor unified all of Terra under his rule, and then he declared that the galaxy was next, as humanity's birthright was to rule the stars. He set off to rediscover, unify, and conquer the whole galaxy in what was called the Great Crusade, with human infantry, the precursor to the Imperial Guard, and the successors of the useful but ultimately flawed Thunder Warriors, the Adeptus Astartes. Space Marines if you're nasty. Planet by planet, world by world, the Emperor's armies laid claims to swaths of the galaxy, with the help of the tech priesthood he allied with on Mars. Ships, tanks, and grand arsenals wiped away the taint of aliens, mutant humans, and religion of all kind, replacing them with secular science and hard truth. At first. See, billions of billions died in the ambitions of the Emperor's dream of a unified race, but the price was always argued as justified. Even the Emperor's own sons, the 18 Primarchs, genetically engineered demigod-like figures that were his generals, were just more tools in his ambitions. You see, this raw, unapologetic ambition is what led to the decline of the Imperium as a whole, as the mightiest of the Primarchs, Horus, turned against the Emperor and a cataclysmic civil war broke out across the Imperium. Horus rallied half of his brothers, and the forces they commanded, and thousands of worlds, including splinter sects of the Adeptus Mechanicum, the guys who make all the guns, to his side. Worlds burned, Primarchs died, and the growth of the Imperium withered into stagnation. Guided by a sense of betrayal and driven by the ruinous powers of chaos, the traitors pushed all the way to Terra itself, attempting to kill the Emperor, and they nearly succeeded. In a bold counterattack against Horus's own flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, the Emperor and two of his most noble Primarchs, Rogel Dorn and Sanguinius, moved to strike Horus down and end the war for good. In the ensuing teleportation, they were all separated. Sanguinius was killed by Horus, and in turn, the Emperor struck down Horus. The rebellion was over, but so was the dream. The Emperor did not win easily against Horus. In fact, he was on death's door when Rogel Dorn found him. Dorn brought the Emperor back to the Imperial Palace, and under orders from his faithing father, sat him on the ancient mysterious device called the Golden Throne. There he sits, even to the current time in the setting now. For the Golden Throne has extended, stretched, and prolonged the last moments of the Emperor's life. Make no mistake, he is still dying, rotting, and forever in excruciating agony. But his prolonged death is ensuring the Imperium's prolonged life. You see, the Emperor, despite his protests, is not a normal man. First off, he's 10 feet tall and glows bright gold. But he's also something called a psyker, a being that can call upon the powers from beyond and manifest them in the physical world with the power of their mind. And the Emperor has one of the strongest minds of all. The Emperor's body might be rotting into dust, but his mind is feverishly still at work, keeping something called the Astronomicon running, a psychic beacon for faster-than-light navigation. If that goes out, then FTL travel will be impossible, and a new dark age will fall upon humanity, with little hope of surviving this time. And with that brief summary out of the way, what does the Imperium of Man look like now? Well, it's horrible. Yes, that's right. The poster boy human, vainglorious faction of the setting uses your expectations of heroes, good guys, and sci-fi to mess with you. And it's amazing. On its face, the Imperium of Man is the sole force in the galaxy to keep humanity alive in the face of entropy, murderous aliens, and literal demons. That's pretty true, but this view also ignores the whole picture. For every liberated world, there are wide-scale military tactics that would make a World War I general wince at the casualty numbers. For every miracle from the Emperor, there are millions of servitors, lobotomized people who are being used as forklifts or combat drones, or just data storage. For every glorious hero, there are billions of men and women, bodies bent with hard labor, faces gaunt with malnutrition, eyes sunk with lack of sleep, working 20-hour days in a factory making rounds of ammunition. Those are the truths of the Imperium of Man. The justification is human survival, a horribly twisted adage of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. It is humanity devoid of humanity. Those Space Marines on the posters, the guys who are supposed to be saving everyone, the people referred to as the angels of the Emperor, they don't understand the people they're supposed to be protecting. This can be best seen in the mentality of the Emperor's most holy Inquisition, a branch of the Imperium dedicated to rooting out threats everywhere they go, and this has led them to seeing knives in every shadow. But with a motto like "Innocence proves nothing," how can they fail at getting spectacular results? Worst of all, they are above reproach, untouchable in their duties. Yikes. Even the political and administrative system is a hindrance to itself, a farce of political intrigue and pompous noble houses. rival branches of government trying to discredit each other at every turn, and a miasma of smug superiority as far as the eye can see. While some branches, like the Adeptus Custodes, earn this attitude, as they are the Emperor's personal bodyguards, even to this day, his first best genetic creations, they've been with him since the Unification War. Others are just too far up their own asses to see that they are a threat to themselves and everyone around them. Information is repressed on a whim, resources are withheld for petty reasons, and simple filing errors from an overworked data clerk in an impossibly bloated system dooms whole systems to death. Thrones, even the combat-capable factions of the Imperium, regularly go to war with one another over grudges, misunderstandings, or perceived betrayals. They shed their own blood fighting each other almost as often as they do fighting actual threats. All armies of the Imperium pick fights with one another, wasting time, lives, and resources they could, quite frankly, not afford to lose. They could be fighting orcs, or pushing back a Tyranid hive fleet. But the Space Wolves pissed off the Inquisition. Again. So, yeah, they're doing that, I guess. This is made all the worse because the Imperium is slowly bleeding out, gasping and clawing to stay alive as its enemies, everyone else, are descending upon it from all sides, smelling weakness and seeing opportunity. If every other faction in the galaxy focused down the Imperium, it would be put down, at great and terrible cost to everybody involved, so nobody really wants to do it. But as it stands, humankind is fighting a bitter, stubborn resistance against its own end. Slowly but surely, though, they are losing ground, day by day. But Bolter, I hear you ask, why is the Imperium of Man cool? Good question. They are morally horrible. Everything is in 40k. They are outdone by their own hubris, and they are, in fact, losing. So why pick them? Well, they are human. First and foremost, they're us. A funhouse mirror image of us, maybe, sure. But they are us. Kindness, compassion, loyalty, and other redeeming qualities do exist here. They're just downplayed and outnumbered by the sheer amount of horrible efficiency and the need for survival. But they are there. Another good reason is the Imperium of Man has the largest presence in 40k lore. The Imperium has 6 playable armies on the table, not counting sub-factions or branches of the Imperium that are restricted to books, like the Arbites or the Navy. For context, the Necrons have 1 army on the table. The Necrons. The sheer amount of coverage the Imperium gets is staggering compared to everyone else. The Horus Heresy, the prequel setting I talked about a moment ago, has a book series. That alone has 62 books, and it's been going since 2007. It is ongoing to this day, by the way. It is a series that is purely human-focused, and it is wildly successful. You'll always have something new to look forward to, your options are limitless, and you're bound to find a group within the Imperium that really speaks to you. You also probably won't get swept under a rug or used as a punching bag by other factions. Well, not as much anyway. Thank you for tuning into Beef Snake Nerdcast. I have been Bolter, the Remembrancer. This Vox recording has been edited and approved by His Most Holy Inquisition, the Imperial Ecclesiarchy, the Adeptus Ministorum, the Navis Nobilite, the Knight Houses, the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Officio Assassinorum, the High Lords of Terra, and Lord Guilliman, the Imperial Regent. Show your loyalty to the Emperor by liking and subscribing, and hitting that bell. Failure to comply will be seen as heresy. Please follow me on social media. Tune in next episode when we discuss the finer details of retro cyberpunk anime. The Emperor Protects.